David, was that excellent victory rooted in Sheffield United doing what they do at their very best?
Most definitely. You know, I think after the lockdown, the first couple of games, you know, we didn't play on the front foot. We kind of forgot about what we're about. And I think since the Arsenal game in the FA Cup, you know, from then we've started to be on our front foot. And, you know, I think the results have proved of why we are where we are. You know, the 35 games in now, you know, I think the table, the points don't lie on the table. So that's truly us at our best today.
And for you personally, having had to wait all season, you get your first Premier League goal, and then you double your tally in the same game.
Yeah, you know, I've told the lads, just don't worry, you know, when it comes, I'll get a brace or something, you know, don't worry about the one goal, I'll go for two. But obviously, I've said in the press in the week, I wasn't concerned, I wasn't losing over sleepless nights. I knew that the goals were coming because I've had chances. So, you know, I've had a couple of chances today and I've managed to put them away. It's a great feeling to get my first Premier League goals at 32, and, you know, I think there's many more to come.
What does it actually mean to you, though, to finally have done it?
It means the world, you know. I made my debut when I was 16, still in school. Everyone's dream was to play in the Premier League. I made that dream this season, and then I've got my second dream, which is to score. You know, I think 2 years ago I got released from Ipswich Town. I didn't know where I was going to be. Got a trial at Sheffield United last year, won promotion, Player of the Year, and here I am today, you know, living my dream.
Living his dream. Yet another example of Chris Wilder's management at Sheffield United. You heard him there. He came for a trial, having been released by League One Ipswich Town.
Yep.
And there he is, scoring twice in the Premier League against Chelsea.
And that, as you say, that's you know, look, clearly David McGoldrick has worked exceptionally hard at his game and to apply himself as well as he has. But again, it takes a manager, it takes somebody to drag that out of you, to find. You know, loads of managers often talk about players. There's something there, and they can't quite tap into it. They can't quite get it. Can't quite drag it out of players. Now, Chris Wilder does have a genuine knack and ability of doing that, and that's another classic example.
And I keep using this as an example. They came up with Aston Villa, who have spent £135 million and sit in the bottom three. And there's a guy released by a League One club scoring. That there are different ways to manage in this league.
Well, I think Sheffield United have now set the blueprint of what you should do when you come up. You look at what Fulham did last year as well. They did what Villa did. You know, they spent 100 million. They changed the goalkeeper 3 times in the first 10 games, changed the back 3, back 4, back 5. Sheffield United came up with a plan, stuck to it, barely made any changes, have a style that works, and I love it. You know, I'm a huge Sheffield United fan. I love watching them play, and that there from McGoldrick, you know, released from Ipswich Town, comes
for a trial.
And then, you know, he's talking about that's his dream. And they play every game like they may not get another opportunity. And Chelsea played like they won the game before they even kicked off. And I love that about Chris Wilder. Every time his team steps on the pitch, I remember, I think it was against Liverpool, and he said they didn't compete, and he really had a proper go at them.
Yeah.
And every time they play, they give you that. And I love that. And to be able to get a result like that and score goals and be clinical and be one of the best teams defensively in the Premier League, that's the blueprint for coming up. Defensively strong, good goalkeeper, and then play your style going forward.
Just quickly, Owen, on that as well. I think what would be interesting now, this summer coming, if there's some money available for Chris, how much it is, what sort of level of player he starts pitching himself to potentially go for.
That's a good point.
As you say, because up to now he's engineered players and he's created a style and a great spirit. Now all of a sudden he might be in a position where he might be able to go and spend a few quid, and that's when it becomes difficult in trying to add something to what you've got.
And maintain the spirit.
You can sometimes lose a bit of what you've got. That's you know, that happens a lot. We see that. Change can sometimes always work in the other direction, and so he's got a lot to think about. But he's doing an amazing job.
He certainly is. And with that first of the 3 goals, we saw how Chelsea helped them today.
Yeah, I think Chelsea just, you know, look, Sheffield United do this well. You know, they keep the ball alive, McBurney, and they get bodies in the box. They win that second one there, it's Berger. But look at Baldock, never looks up. Look, Sheffield United do this well. You know, they keep the ball alive, McBurney, and they get bodies in the box. They win that second one there, it's Berger. But look at Baldock, never looks up. Stands it up at the back post. They flood the back post always. That's Sheffield United's, boy, they do, you know, they're good at that. And Chelsea just defensively, that goal almost summed it up, really. You know, they were second best, didn't stop the cross. Don't deal with this so in here. But keep an eye on McBurney. You know, he just comes back into shot there. He has no desire to get back in the box like all the Chelsea defenders. He's waiting for that cross. Okay, it takes a couple of deflections off Barkley and Reece James and kept us a bit unlucky, but Chelsea are too passive. You know, they're just too passive in that situation. Frank will be fuming with them defensively today.
I actually think here, Owen, as well, You can see the centre-halves react, come alive. I think even though there's a double deflection, I'm still looking at the goalie there.
Oh, yeah.
Can you have done...
I am too, Andy, I'm with you.
Come on, can't you have done something a little better than that? Even if you punch this because you're not sure, you might have just knocked it to one side rather than just flapping it straight down in front of McGoldrick. And don't know, with the goalkeeper's a big talking point, and clearly is going to be something that they've got to consider. They've invested a lot of money in him, but he's not getting better.
How well worked was 2-0 from Sheffield United's point of view?
Sensational, great. Played the short free kick. So now all of a sudden the boys in the box know it's going to be coming in at some point. Can we engineer something? Yes, they can, because Reece James and Willian don't communicate. Stevens whips a brilliant ball in, and that is a sensational header, isn't it?
Andy, this is almost like a training ground one where you're not allowed to tackle. Willian, James. I mean, how far away do you want to be? 1-2. Christensen and Zuma. It's just poor. I mean, obviously that's Sheffield United, and Frank would have known that was coming. But his players looked like they weren't ready for it, and defensively, they just couldn't live with Sheffield United's crossing at any point.
No wonder he's fist punching there, the manager, because he knows that's a great goal. That is a classic goal, and that's a team that know what they're doing. And they've got those wing backs getting high up the field, and then just when they get the chance, he had load of time there, Ender Stevens, just put it in there and ask them to get on the end of it. Great stuff.
And for 3-0 as well?
Yeah, I mean, they were dominant virtually in their phase. Look, Chelsea are trying to push. Ross gets, he loses it in there, but look how willing they are. And you talk about, Andy said about better players. Players aren't going to run the channels like Musa and McGoldrick. And to be fair, Zuma and Rudiger make an absolute mess of what is a pretty easy goal to defend. And that really summed up Chelsea all day. Look at Zuma just jogging. He's got to know that ball is coming, doesn't he?
Has. Now he's got to shut that door and he's coasting, and he's strolling, Owen, there. I mean, and Rudiger, that's poor feet. Adjust your feet. Come on, make a better clearance than that. He just drops it into the path of McGoldrick, who can't believe his luck. But they looked tired today, Chelsea. They looked. It looked a real flat. It looked like it was hard work for them today. And I'm surprised at that for a team, a top team, and a team that are really going for it now to try and get in the top four. You just can't do that.
OK, well, I'm sure he will not be happy at all. Let's get the views of the Chelsea boss, Frank Lampard.
Frank, a bitterly disappointing day for Chelsea. Where and how did that go wrong?
They were better than us. So, better than us physically, better than us in the mind, better than us with the ball. So you lose a game.
Mentally, were they better?
They were stronger than us. I think you could feel that. And we don't have a crowd at the minute, so you hear every voice. All I could hear was Sheffield United voices. So they were stronger in that sense. And they're good players. They're a good team. We all know that this season. So if you come here and perform below par collectively as we did, it's going to happen.
What were you looking to change at half-time when you matched them shape-wise?
Yeah, we matched them, and that's just obviously you respect the way they play, but we were too slow with the ball. We weren't even getting our wingers into the game, and our wingers have been fantastic in restart. We weren't getting them into the game, so we just tried to get some more control of the game, which we did have after that, but we never looked overly threatening, and they still had the counter-attack, so it definitely made us look more solid against their shape, but already at 2-0 down, you make it really difficult for yourself.
Defensively, disappointing goals?
Yeah. Disappointing. Mistakes. I've got to be careful to overanalyse this one, because it's what you do. You analyse all season, review, look forward. What we have to do now with that game is put that to bed, because the only thing that matters now is that we fight for top four, and that we're still in that race because of how we've been this season. We have to put this game away very quickly, but I learned a lot, and I won't forget that.
Might that not be possible, because next time you kick off, results go against you, you're outside the top four, which is the real damage from today. Yeah,
but that's the reality of it. But that's I'm not concerned so much about top four today, and all I do is sit and watch all the games that you show on TV and consider where we're at and what we want to do, because of course I want to get there, but today I'm concerned about how we performed, and I learned a lot about that. I'm not thinking right now we might be fifth, we might still be third or fourth or whatever. I'm not thinking that. We'll see by the time those teams play, and by the time we approach Norwich, and we cannot approach Norwich or Manchester United or Liverpool and Wolves in the same vein as we did today.
Frank, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Well, he was very honest there. Remind you of the situation that he was talking about there. Manchester United play Southampton Monday night. Leicester play away at Bournemouth tomorrow. If they both win, then for the first time since mid-October, Chelsea and is very concerned. What do you think he's learned, Tony?
I think he learned that he's going to have a different defence next season and potentially a different goalkeeper. I think for Frank, being as young a manager he is, he's probably one of the best in terms of his interviews after the game. He's honest, he praises, but he's also critical when he needs to be. That today was a huge blow to him. I don't think he saw that coming. I didn't see that coming. He's done it as a manager, and I think that today will show him that he needs to do something slightly different defensively next season, personnel-wise.
They've conceded more goals than any team in the top half of the table. But when he talks about mentality as well, is that more of a worry?
Well, because he was able to become such a key player at Chelsea and such a serial winner that they had that mentality. A lot of those boys in there haven't got it. A lot of those boys in there are still trying to find their way to develop into pretty much guaranteed starters. Reece James, a talented lad, ball watches, still sleeps and drifts through games too much. Kurt Zouma has been around for a while now. We're still asking questions of him about, is he really good enough to operate at a top club in the Premier League? I don't think so. And I think Andreas Christensen alongside him as well is the sort of guy that mentally you can wear down and you can physically impose your will and your game on him, as we saw happen today. They need, as Owen says, they need to repair that, and then the only way you can do it is by selecting the right people and being brave to go and sort it. They've identified forward players that they've gone and spent a lot of money on already in Werner and Ziyech. Now they need to do the same at the back, because without that, if you haven't got the substance, the spine in your team, really to hang your hat on, you can't win this league. You can't get up there and really be competing for it.
Next up, Norwich at home, but then they go to Liverpool, the champions, and Wolves is their final fixture at Chelsea. We've seen how low Frank Lampard is. Let's see how high the Sheffield United boss is. Here's Chris Wilder.
Chris, you're a man who famously keeps his feet firmly on the ground, but how good were your team today?
Yeah, I thought we were excellent, full value for the result. You know, they've got some outstanding players at the top of the pitch, but we've had to defend properly. The structure of the team was really good, and we had to have something going the other way, and I thought we did. And delighted. It's obviously it's been a tough schedule, and the quality of teams that we've played here at Bramall Lane needed turning over, and I'm delighted that we've turned Chelsea over.
Well, bearing that in mind, if I can relay a comment that Graham Souness made in the first drinks break in our studio, he said Chris Wilder's team looked like the opening day of the season. They look fresh as anything. They are absolutely bang at it.
Yeah, we weren't in the first couple of games, so it's took us a little bit to get going, and we're into a rhythm, and delighted. I've really enjoyed watching my team play, always, because I think they give me the maximum that they've got always, and that's from a manager. You know, sometimes we might be down on a little bit of quality because of where we've come from, but we always get 9 times out of 10 a performance right up at the max, and we have to be like that right the way through.
Into the top 6, 10 points in the last 12. What do you put the turnaround down to, Andy?
I think that again, after lockdown, it was difficult for a number of teams. I think everybody. I watched them against Manchester United, their first one out, and they played like Chelsea did today. They looked a bit flat and lethargic, and I think, again, reminders and keep on preaching to your players about what's got them to where they are now. Hard work, intensity in their game, belief, being brave on the ball. They've gone back to that over the last few fixtures, and they've looked so much better for it. They're a very difficult team to handle when they play like that. Doesn't matter who that Chelsea team could have been anyone. That's Man United, anyone. The form they're in at the moment. You come up against that team when they play like that, it's difficult.
Into the top 6 then for Sheffield.